Hi, thanks for joining us today and welcome to Master Sessions with Power BX. We're really excited for you all to be here. I'm Talia Kemp. I'm the Client Success Director here at Power BX, and I'm joined today by professional speaker and coach Marquesa Pettway, aka the Zoom Queen. Everybody is using Zoom these days, and whether you're a business owner, leader, executive, or employee, standing out on Zoom can grow your business influence and impact. Marquesa is a former CNN associate producer turned business reinvention strategist and technology engagement speaker. She helps experts and organizations leverage Zoom to create engaging virtual events, productive meetings, and virtual-based income streams. Today, she'll be sharing a few major Zoom features that maybe you don't have any clue about yet. These features will not only help you stand out on Zoom, but also help you save money, time, and energy. Let's welcome New York-based, soon to appear in a commercial on your TV, Marquesa Pettway.
All right, thank you, Talia. Let me go ahead and add myself to the spotlight and go, hi, thank you. So now we're able to sort of meet in the middle, and then you have anything else you wanted to say before we get going to your audience, Talia?
Yeah, I don't think so. We just want to hear about all of your expertise and tips today, Marquesa.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put you in the audience. Okay, first of all, just wanted to say hello to Brad, Crystal, and Paul. I would love if there's any chance, guys, you can come on camera because I like to see your face. Kind of like this is like a dinner or a lunch at a restaurant. Who goes to a restaurant? Anyone in here? Has anyone gone to restaurants lately? Just imagine your Zoom should have that same energy, right? You want people to feel like you see them. So I try to make sure that you feel like I see you. All right. So thank you for doing that. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Paul. And Brad, I'm sure you'll come through. Oh, look at Brad. Brad is like, fine, here I am. He's walking in the store. All right, guys. I'm going to share with you a little bit about Zoom. I have a few minutes, so I can't deep dive, and then we'll share later how you can learn even more. Talia, thank you for having me here. We've been talking a lot, over the last, 2 or 3 months, right? So it seems like forever, right? Because I've had the privilege of telling the world about ZapPad. You notice Zoom Queen, and just quickly, I didn't give myself that name, but I really became a Zoom expert probably about a year after it launched, because I realized that it saved me time, money, and energy. So guys, I'm going to ask you some particular questions. I want to make sure we get into it and we stay on time with it. All right. Okay. So here we go. So you see me in the corner here. Hi. See me? Okay. So I would like to know, how is your Zoom world now? Can you put that in the chat room for me? How is your Zoom world now? And everybody can participate if you'd like. How is it now? Is it predictable? Is it overwhelming? Is it amazing? Really be honest with me and with yourself. How is your Zoom world right now? So that means whether you're a participant or you're leading the Zoom. How is your Zoom world right now? See, thank you. And maybe good. She put predictable in there. So Brad, you're a leader. So you lead Zooms, right? Do you lead Zoom? Do you lead Zooms? Okay. Crystal says predictable, performing well, meets expectations. Okay. But I notice even so, Crystal, although it's meeting expectations, you don't want it to be predictable, because what does being predictable, what does that lead to? What does that lead to? I'll go later. I'm not really checked in. Yeah, exactly. So I'm all about helping you, Paul, Brad, Crystal, Talia. I'm all about helping you stand out on Zoom. So is that okay? Helping you look differently from everybody else. Now I want to say, yeah, right. Get to work with amateur Zoom users. Fabulous. And I know some of you guys are looking at me going, whoa. You're not going to teach us how to do all of this. No, I'm not. This is me adding something onto Zoom. So you don't need to stand out on Zoom with every single type of tool or resource out there. I'm going to give you some basics. So is that all right? Basic ways on how you can stand out on Zoom. Okay, so here's the next thing we're going to do. All right. I sing whenever I'm going to the next thing. All right, so I want to up-level your world by telling you how to leverage Zoom to save you time, make you money, and maximize your energy. Can you do me a favor? Put in the chat room, which of the three is the most important to you? Do you want to save time? Do you want to up-level your money? So say that maybe you have your own business and you're like, wait a minute, Marquesa, Zoom will help me make money? Tell me more. Or do you want to maximize your energy? Because people get tired and get exhausted. And some people are like, I can't Zoom because by the end of the day, all I want to do is sleep. So, wow, we got all different answers. Crystal said, let me see. Oh, okay, good. I love it. I love it. I love it. So good, good, good. Let me move this back over here. There we go. Good, 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 good. I got excited and hit it a little bit. But anyway, Crystal said time and money. Brad said energy. Paul said money. Talia said energy. So the cool part about what I'm going to show you is you're going to get all of that. All right. And she has set aside some time for you to ask questions as well. All right. Can you also put in the chat room, if you were to give yourself a number on the scale of how much you know Zoom, how familiar you are with Zoom. And that means leading them, not just attending them, okay? So on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 means I'm a champ. I could be doing the same class. I know Zoom very well. And 1 means, okay, I don't know very much and I'm not ashamed of it. So on a scale of 1 to 5, what would be your number? Can you put in the chat room for me? Because I want to know who I'm working with so I can get an idea of where it is. Okay, so I got some 4, 5s, 3s, 2s. All right, that helps. That's helpful. Okay, good, good, good. And what kind of Zoom account do you have? Because that's a big piece of where I'm going. The kind of Zoom account you have matters. It matters big time. So you would be like, I don't know. If you pay Zoom $15 a month, you have Zoom Pro. So you can put Zoom Pro in the chat room. Okay. And then maybe if you're under your company, then put Zoom Company. Or if you use Zoom for free, put Zoom Free. You know, whatever it is, whatever you want to put in there, put that in there. And here's the last thing. And this is where the time comes in. About how many Zooms are you a part of in terms of leading, co-leading, or just being a part of it in some kind of way? That's important, which means you need knowledge for Zoom. About how many of those Zoom sessions happen a week for you? Put that in the chat room. Okay, Crystal says Zoom Enterprise, great. So put in the chat room how many of those you are part of. So you may say, Marquesa, there's like 10 Zoom meetings a week, and of the 10, I lead about 70% of them. Or it could be, well, I'm a part of, I don't know, 30 meetings, but I may only lead 1. I'd like to kind of know how your time is being used. So Crystal says 10 plus. Paul says a few per month. Most of my organization uses Teams. Okay, I got to pull you out of that, Paul, because no one is like Zoom. And then Talia said around 5. Okay, gotcha. So very, very good. All right, so this helps. So one way that you can use Zoom to, and I'm kind of want to kick it back to me. Remember, I don't have a whole lot of time, so I want to share what I can. I want to share the biggest pieces. Guys, before Zoom was out, I mean, there was WebEx, there was GoToMeeting. There were so many different tools out there that were out there before Zoom. And I used them all and they were great. And they were wonderful for me sharing my slides or getting on and having a meeting. Remember join.me? I don't know if anybody remembers that. So many of them. However, when I met Zoom, it was love at first sight. It was love at first sight. And I was blown away because Zoom literally became a team member. So it became my office. Does anyone use Zoom as their office? It became my stage. It became my classroom. It became my studio, and that's just a few. Are you with me so far? Yeah. It became all of these moving parts. So I know you're thinking, so how is that possible? So let's talk about this. And this is where I kind of killed two birds with one stone, because I have a short amount of time with you and I want to share this with you. And this is where we get to the different types. Okay, so you don't have to buy anything, but I want you to see the different types here. So right now, you put in the chat room, you either have Pro, and I'm only comparing it against Pro, or you have Enterprise. Those are the two that I'm comparing. I think one person on here has Enterprise, and that's Crystal, but everybody else is either Pro, License, or Enterprise. Okay, so this is where I get to kind of talk about, with the few minutes I have left, how you can save time, money, and energy. Okay, number one, I'm going to go to recordings. How many of you guys recorded right to your desktop or right to your laptop? And then you upload it and send it to people and it goes in 5 different places. How many of you guys do that? Put in the chat room. It was me, 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 me. I want to know about the recordings. How are you handling the recordings? Crystal, Paul, Brad, what's going on with those recordings? So you are download. Okay, Brad says rarely. Brad, what's happening? Okay, Talia says recording to the cloud. Talia, do you get that lovely message that Zoom likes to send out that says, you're out of space? You're gonna lose your recordings. Do you get that? Okay, and record to desktop. Okay, Brad, thank you, Brad. I'm giving you a big kiss over here. He gets the gold star. Brad said it's a lot of effort. So this is my first part of keeping my promise. When you choose your account, consider a Zoom Enterprise, because unlimited cloud recordings is everything. So what does that mean? That means when I go into the back, I don't care if I tend to time map. Does anyone else know what time mapping is? In other words, I put all like activities in the same category. So if I'm going to coach, if I'm going to speak, if I'm going to have meetings, I put them all on the same day. So I'm doing back to back to back to back. Put in the chat room if you can relate to that, right? So I don't have time to worry about where the recording is, to save it. I got an assistant. I don't have time for any of that. So unlimited cloud recordings means that all of the recordings, soon as I hit record on here, right here in the Zoom dashboard, it'll say, do you want to record to your computer or do you want to record to the cloud? I'm going to hit record to the cloud. Then I have already gone into my Zoom settings, guys, and told the cloud, please record just speaker only. Do you know what I mean when I say speaker only? That means whoever watches that recording will only see the speaker, right? Why would that be important? I don't want to see 30 faces all the time, or 5 faces or 10 faces, right? So I can also tell Zoom, will you please record all of the faces? We call that gallery view. So you put that in there. Are you sitting down, Paul? Are you ready for this one? I can also tell Zoom, can you please transcribe every single word? And they will do video transcription and audio transcription. Are you impressed yet? It does all of that. And that same thing, just so you know, Paul, it's all in one place in the Zoom, in my Zoom library. Because years ago, before Zoom had cloud recordings, and I have my beautiful Mac over there. I don't know if anybody else is a Mac user or you're a Windows user, but guys, I saved all of these Zoom recordings to my Mac over here, and it killed my storage space, killed it in the early days. Now, I make sure that recording, unless it's really short, goes nowhere near my desktop, because I want to keep my desktop clean. Anybody with me on that? So one piece is start off with the right account. So good. Brad is like, I love you. Thank you, Brad. Start off with the right account and understand the different type of Zoom accounts, right? So that's what unlimited cloud storage means. Also, how many of you use Zoom Meeting and Zoom Webinar? You do realize there's 2 different Zoom platforms, right? Put in here if you're like, nope, I thought it was one. Anybody in here never heard of Zoom Webinar? It does not mean you need to do a Zoom webinar. What it means is, hey, sometimes I want the faces to show. I want to see Paul and Crystal and Brad, because I want to feel like we're in the same room, and Talia. And other times, what if I'm speaking about something? Maybe I'm doing a town hall. Maybe Power BX is doing a town hall, right? And they have 500 plus people coming on. Guys, do you want to see 500 faces, Paul? What about you, Brad, Crystal? What that's going to distract you. You know, some of us have ADHD that will completely distract you. So Talia can instead say, guys, we're going to do it on Zoom webinar platform. So not only can she have you guys register directly through Zoom, so Talia doesn't have to do all this work because Talia is a genius. She does a lot of work, but you can let Zoom handle everything. So in short, again, it would take me more time to go deeper into it. Zoom webinar is an end-to-end platform. It does everything for you, including shining your shoes. I'm just saying, it does everything. Okay. It registers people for you. You can share your bio, everything from the moment they come in. It follows up for you. So after the webinar is over, or the meeting or whatever you hold is over, literally it will send an email and say, hey, Paul, here's your recording or whatever you told it to do. And if you're like me, where you're absent-minded and you're like, oh no, I forgot to tell it what to follow up with. You can go in 2-3 days later, Paul, and literally tell it, please send this out to all my Zoom attendees. Send them this recording or this special or whatever it is you want to send them. Who's impressed so far? So Zoom webinar takes Zoom to 10 levels up. So with the Zoom Enterprise account, you get both Zoom meeting and Zoom webinar. Now, some people may say, well, Marquesa, what if I just want Zoom Pro? Can I still have Zoom webinar? You can. It would be Zoom Pro $15 and you add on Zoom webinar for an additional $50. Does that make sense? So, and if you want a limited cloud, that's additional $50 and it keeps going. So that's why Zoom Enterprise has all of that included, just to be clear. Oh, you love that. Good, good. Yes, it is, Brad. It is part of the enterprise. So I talked about transcription, unlimited clouds, and some of us have more than 100 people we need to meet with. Occasionally we need to meet with more. So it gives you more people as well, more breakout rooms, and it just takes it to another level. So first things first, when it comes to time, money, and energy, guys, put in the chat room if I kept my promise with how does Zoom save you time, money, and energy. Get on the right platform. Here's something else. Does anyone have a smartphone? Put yes if you have a smartphone. Put a Y in the chat room. Have you downloaded Zoom? Tell the truth. Put a Y for yes or no, in for no if you have not downloaded Zoom, the Zoom app on your smartphone. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that, but let me know if you have not uploaded the Zoom app. I want to know if you have or not, okay? That would be helpful, okay? And the answer is no, no, no. So why would you want to do that? Remember everything that I just shared in terms of recording, registration, anything you want to do, you can do it all on your phone right in the Zoom app. So let's pretend that Talia is, because she's a busy woman. Let's say she's out in the field somewhere, you know, working and she's doing some work. She's like, oh, I got to meet with Marquesa. What do you think Talia is going to do? Unmute yourself, Talia, and tell me what would you do? If you were going to meet me and you're running around, what would you do?
I would try to look for a quiet place and get on my computer. Yeah.
No, but let's say though, that for some reason you're like, okay, I'm on the go and I need to take notes in this meeting. So that's still a big job, right? To find a place, and then you gotta all those pieces, but I don't even want you to do that. I want you to pull out your smartphone. I want you to have the Zoom app. And here's the cool part. You may say, wait a minute, I'm on the go. I want to be safe. So I don't necessarily want to look at Zoom. So the cool thing with Zoom, guys, even in your Zoom app, you can give a person literally, this is another benefit of Zoom Enterprise. Zoom, you can choose your own meeting room name. So Talia, what would your meeting room name be?
For me personally?
Yeah. What would your meeting room name be?
I don't know, maybe something about how I'm a cat lady.
Okay, cat lady. I love it. I am too. I had Emmy for 25 years, so you're not by yourself. We got something in common. Oh my God. So let's say that is cat lady. So literally, if Talia decided to invite Marquesa, Crystal, Brad, and Paul to her Zoom, and or vice versa, Paul is like, listen, I'm busy. I can't sit at my computer. You can go to the Zoom app. Zoom app is going to say, do you want to join a meeting? You're going to click join a meeting. right? It's going to ask you either for the meeting number, which you guys should be used to, or the meeting name. And guess what you're going to put in? Cat lady. And it's going to bring you right into her Zoom. Does that make sense? And then let's say that you're leading this Zoom, Talia, and you say, well, for part of it, I can show you guys my face, but for the rest of it, I can't. You know how some of us like to drive or what have you. So we want to be safe. So you can show your face and say, okay, guys, I see you. And you can hit record, Talia, and it's going to record everything, transcription, video, audio, all in your library. So when you get back to your office, there it is right there. And it goes deeper, guys. It's super easy to share those recordings. I don't know, does anyone ever send an email out? Does anyone send an email? You can literally send a link, Paul and Crystal, and literally the other person can click the link and download everything they need. Or they can open it up and see the transcription. Does that make sense? So here's the piece I want you to take away from that. That's where it saves me, again, time, money, and energy. And I'll tell you, as Talia mentioned, I'm here in New York City. Before COVID hit, people would fly out here and stay at an Airbnb across the street from me. So I'd have like several clients come in for like 3 or 4 days, and they would spend 5 hours with me for me to, help them reinvent their business. So we'd have a big old paper on the wall and Post-its, my favorite. But do you think they remembered everything we discussed during that 5 hours? You think they remembered? Would you remember everything I'm talking about, Paul, if you met with me for 5 hours? So guess what? All I had to do was go to the Zoom app, right? Put down the phone, hit record, the camera doesn't need to be on, and then I can start talking to you. And then after everything's over, I go to my cloud recording and send Paul the recordings from that entire time. Is that genius or what? You see where I'm going? So there's a million other things I can share, but tell me if your brain already hurts.
I think we need to open it up to the Q&A section now and see what people want to know.
Okay, good. Yes. All right, what are your questions? Hit me. Who has the first question? Brad. Okay, Brad, there you go. I'm going to go ahead and add you. Oh, I can't add you to the spotlight because your face isn't showing. That's another thing. If someone has questions, add them to the spotlight. That way you're right beside me, kind of like they do on TV news, Brad. Isn't that cool? So go ahead with your question.
Yeah, as you saw, I'm on the go, just left the market, but have been absorbing a lot. This has been awesome. Thank you. So being the guy who's on the go, I've been in a lot of situations where I'm on Zoom on my laptop, and then I want to transfer it to my mobile without having to like log in or have my face show up twice, and then there's that echo effect and everything. Is there an easy handoff feature in Zoom?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So an easy handoff feature would be, number one, let's say that you have your phone on here. I would immediately let them know, or if you need to. Now, if you're just attending a meeting, you don't need to say anything, right? But what I would do is disconnect the audio. Because if you notice when you join Zoom, what does it ask you? Do you want to join audio? So disconnect, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? So just disconnect the audio. That doesn't mean pull the audio out.
I know it's blasphemy to say the Teams word here, but on Teams there's like an actual like handoff, like you click the button and it immediately transfers to the new device. Sounds like Zoom doesn't currently have that. Is that correct?
Yeah, but Zoom has a whole bunch of things that Teams does not have. And I'm going to tell you, one of the biggest benefits is are you ever meeting with customers?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a believer in Zoom. I was just curious on that one feature, if that Zoom had that handoff thing.
So the best thing I would do, literally, and I do this even with church, because sometimes I want them to see me and I want to see my pastor, and sometimes I don't. So what I will do, let's say that I'm on here with you guys and I'm like, all right, I got to run. She's going on way too long. She does that sometimes. So what I'll do is so right now you're on my desktop. I'm going to get on my smartphone. I'm going to go into the app. I'm going to type in the meeting ID or the meeting room name like I taught you guys, right? Then when I go here, I'm going to make sure I disconnect the audio from whichever device I'm leaving. So if you disconnect the audio, you won't get that feedback. Does that make sense? And guess what? You can come into a meeting twice. I know you said, Brad, I don't want to log in and log out. There is no, switch off here, but it's still very easy because you just have to disconnect the audio and reconnect the audio. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Because if there's a handoff, they still got to know where to hand it off to. So I got to think about all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And all you're doing is switching devices. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that'll help. What other question you guys have that you have for me? Paul says, if I have enterprise, can I record other people's Zoom meeting or webinars? What do you mean by that, Paul?
Well, if I've been invited to another webinar and I think, well, this is great, but I don't know whether they're recording it, does that give me that option? Or is it the priority goes to since it's their meeting, they have the ultimate right to do it?
Yes. Yes, the priority goes to the host, right? And so here's what will happen. If you come to my meeting, you're like, hey, Marquesa, I want to record this. I can give you permission to record, okay? And then, but it's not a cloud recording on your end. So as soon as the Zoom ends, it'll pop up on the screen and it'll be right on your desktop. So all I got to do is give you permission to record and you can record. Does that make sense? And if you're a co-host, if I make you a co-host for some reason, then you don't need permission to record, you can record, but only the host can save it to the cloud. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you can indeed. What other questions do you have? You have anything, Crystal?
Yeah, I do. Hi, Marquesa. My name's Crystal. I work for Traction Guest. We do enterprise workplace security management. I wanted to ask, I'm personally in the partnership and alliance team. What advice do you have for building partnerships through Zoom when historically those were all face-to-face meetings? How do we deal with it in the meantime?
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. How do you build partnerships within Zoom? So kind of give me an example.
So historically, in partnership roles, it's all about meeting in person, meeting with sales team, doing sales enablement, which we can do via Zoom. We are doing right now. Just looking for tips on how to make it more memorable, more engaging beyond just a session where all the sales team might be on it and you're speaking with them. Just tips to make it better.
Oh, good. Well, you definitely need to be part of Club CQ because you always want to make it fun and interesting. Did you notice at the beginning of this, first of all, when you came in, what was the first thing you noticed?
The chat saying, hello, we'll be with you shortly.
Yeah. But so that's the first thing. From the moment you invite someone to a Zoom, customize the meeting room. And sometimes you can keep it the same. Now, Talia's meeting room isn't customized, but right there where it says the host will let you in shortly and it gives you the title of the meeting, you can actually go into your backend settings and put in there, get ready to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, or today we're going to focus on this, guys, and get ready to show your face, something like that. So engage them immediately. It's called get them to lean in, right? So then they come into your room. And if you notice, did you notice I was playing music, Crystal?
Yep, I did.
That also gets people, that also gets people attention because it's boring to come into a Zoom and you're like, hi, we'll start your, I like you to feel like you're coming into my space. So I have my music on and then I'm waiting and then I can put in the chat room. So glad you're here. Keep coming, keep coming. See how cool that is? So set the environment up. It seems small, but it really impresses people. Then what I would do, remember, is visual is what's going to keep a person in. How many of us are visual? Anybody else here visual? I know I'm not the only one. Yeah. So visual is what's going to keep me in. Do you notice how I spotlighted you and me, Crystal? Use those things. Whoever is speaking, if you're asking a question, spotlight those two people. Don't make the viewer do all the work. Kind of make it different. I about scared people because in church Sunday, I normally don't run Zoom. They have someone else that does that, or sometimes they'll run it themselves. Well, she couldn't make it and I had to run Zoom. So when the worship leader came on and he started to sing, he's used to just being on the camera the whole time. And that's fine, but that can be a little predictable and boring, right? So guess what I did? As people were kind of worshiping and taking in the music and being in that zone, I pop their screen, I add them to Spotlight. So you had 4 or 5 people on Spotlight. So it created energy. Does that make sense? So one of the things I would do is don't just open up the same way you always open up. Open up with, hey guys, open with an icebreaker question. So what would be a great icebreaker question for the people you meet with? Like if you were in person, how would you open up? Would you just open up with business, or would you open up with, so tell me, how does it feel to finally get out of the office? You know, you would open up with something like that, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So a good thing you can do also is prepare some questions in advance and then ask them, hey guys, I have a question for you. I'd love your answer, but do me a favor, raise your hand, get them using the tools. Go right to reactions, click reactions at the bottom, and you see where it says raise hand. Raise your hand. And then what I'm going to do is add you to the spotlight. And then you're going to add that person to the spotlight and let them answer that question. Do not go right into it. Get them in, get them committed. And let them know, oh, by the way, Paul, I can't add you to the spotlight if your video isn't open. You get it? So come up with different ways to get people to open their video. So the bigger answer is use the Zoom tools. Actually, that's how I closed Microsoft. Nice. Because literally, yeah, I brought them into all of that. I shared my screen, I mind mapped, I did all of these things. I didn't have overlays like I have right now, and I closed the deal. So what else are you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say some of the tools that I do use on Zoom are breakout rooms and the polls that you can launch within a Zoom to get the audience engaging. Mm-hmm. And then of course it records all their answers and the speaker can then speak to what the current audience is saying. But what other tools are similar to those, like polls that you can launch out or breakout rooms?
Well, kind of like everybody uses those. So that's everybody uses the breakouts, and don't get me wrong, that is the most popular feature on breakouts. Which is great. And by the way, here's another tip. Every Monday, you want to make sure you download the latest Zoom version. So I'm going to put in here, so if you don't know where to go, you're going to go to zoom.us/download. You're going to download the latest version because all the versions have something extra that you can do. Then when you invite people to the Zoom meeting, I would say, please download to the latest version. You can send them that link right there because now you can do something different. So here's something else you can do. Now, Talia does not have this turned on. So one thing I want you guys to do is when you get off this call or in the next 24 hours, promise me, I want you to go into settings. When you go into settings, look at all the different things you can do. So in order for you to do breakout rooms, what did you have to do? You had to enable breakout rooms. Enable immersive view. Look at all the different, enable some of the other things because those other things allow you to sort of wow people. So for example, right now, if we had immersive view enabled, you guys sometimes run meetings, at the top where you can click view and you can see speaker view or gallery view. Well, now there's a third view option. And it's called immersive view. And that makes it look like a classroom, you're in a coffee shop, all these different things. So use all the different tools. Something I was gonna say when I mentioned download as well. Breakout rooms. Now you're able to share your presentation to all the breakout rooms that just came out. You can also let people select their own breakout room. So some of the features, Crystal, tend to go to that next level. So that way they're not predictable and Zoom changes it up at every turn. So now you can do those different types of things. Everybody uses polls, that's cool, but I would use it in a different way. I would, you can still use polls, that's cool, but the thing I don't always like about polls is people just push something on the screen. It doesn't let them talk or engage even more. So I would ask, oh, Paul, you said for all the people that chose this, what is it that you wanted? Why did you choose this? Let people talk, get them engaged in the meeting. Because if you were meeting in person, would you just be doing all the talking unless you're presenting? No. If it's a meeting, different people would be speaking. So it's really to engage people. It's not just about the tools, Crystal. It's about how can I keep it moving and throw in elements of surprise and ultimately create a connection between us. And I use different things. Even these backgrounds here. If you notice this, guys don't see all my backgrounds. Here's another one right here, I go to different ones here. You saw this one by accident. I do that right there. So I make my slides in Canva. I try to make things different, shock people, give them something that they're not used to, and this is something else that makes them really, really happy, because then they're thinking, whoa, that is so cool. And that's kind of how, like, I love your background and that's wonderful, but I will say sometimes it's hard to read some of the things on there, but kind of, kind of mix it up a little bit, and then maybe have the same background, but different variations of it, to kind of shock them a little bit and do those sort of things. Can I go? Is there any other part of the question I can answer? I mean, it does so many different things on Zoom.
I think that's about all the time we have for today for the Q&A. But thank you so much, Marquesa, for sharing your skills and your expertise with everyone today. If you guys want to find Marquesa and learn more from her, she offers a club twice a month, Club ZQ, where you can go into a deep dive with her. And she also offers VIP Zoom licensing, where you can save money and time. And if you go to her website, zoomqueen.com, you can connect with her there and see all the different virtual events and trainings and all of her tips on Zooming like a boss. And for this series here, we'll be having our next one July 16th. So stay tuned for our next sessions, all on the future of work, and have a wonderful month until then.
All right, guys, that's my site. So if you want to get that account, if you have any questions, let me know. And anybody who's watching the recording, let me know, because it's easy. It's literally like taking you from coach to first class. It's very easy. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.